everyone, it's Alice, and today I'm here to talk about the fact that I've just unsubscribed from Illumicrate after 8 years. So there are quite a few reasons that I've made this choice, and I thought I would share them with you today, primarily because being a subscriber to Illumicrate does have a huge impact on this channel. If you're a regular viewer, you'll know I quite often do Illumicrate Archives unboxings, and I do Bookbox Battle Monthly, in which I pit Illumicrate, Fairyloot, and Owlcrate up against each other. But it's just the straw that broke the camel's back, to be honest. There's been a lot of different little things over the last year or so that have been piling up that have made me less favourable towards the company. And there was just like a nail in the coffin. There was a final nail in the coffin yesterday, and I threw a bit of a temper tantrum, and I emailed them and I demanded a refund on my Maybox, and I cancelled. And that is not like me at all. I'm not somebody that gets that kind of emotional about things like this. I'm not somebody who leaves comments to complain on Instagram. I'm not somebody that really gets involved in those kinds of discussions on like Bookbox Sherlocks or on the Discord groups. But something about it just pushed me to my limit, and I went a bit mental. So I just wanted to kind of discuss it all with you today, because I know, full disclaimer here, I know it's probably going to sound like I'm being a petty bitch. It's probably going to sound like I am really overreacting and being completely ridiculous to something that none of you will probably care about, or you'll all end up being on Illumicrate's side in this, and that's fair enough. They are a very well-loved company in the bookish community, and I know that by kind of listing the reasons that I don't feel that way personally anymore, I might lose some subscribers for this. You might not like me anymore, and that's okay, because everybody is allowed to have differences of opinions, and everybody is allowed to fall in different camps on subjects like this. So I just thought I would tell you my reasons for unsubscribing, the reasons that I'm not financially supporting Illumicrate as a company anymore, and where I would be featuring them on any upcoming Bookbox Battle episodes, because I didn't want it to come to May's Bookbox Battle and for it to just be Fairyloot and Owlcrate and for everybody to wonder what the hell was going on. So I thought I would just have like a video today to address everything, get it out of my system, get some closure, move past it, and move on with my life. So let's start with what happened yesterday, because that's the most fresh thing. This is the thing that really kind of hammered it home to me that I didn't want to subscribe to them anymore. And then I'll kind of discuss some of the other issues I've had with them over the last year and why I think that this is the right choice for me personally. So 2 days ago, so this would have been on Wednesday evening, Illumicrate announced that they were featuring The Sun and the Void, which is an upcoming Daphne press release, in their June box. Okay, fair enough. Daphne owns Illumicrate, Daphne owns Daphne Press. She's going to want to support her own authors that she has acquired herself through these publishing deals. So I didn't really have a problem with that. I think that it's a bit kind of hit or miss, because it means like they did the Luminaries and then they didn't do the Art of Prophecy, and then they have done The Sun and the Void. So it felt a bit inconsistent, but I wasn't too surprised to see that that was the June book announcement. So then you fast forward 24 hours and the Daphne Press account announces the pre-order incentives that they're doing for The Sun and the Void, and it's an enamel pin badge that's been designed by the author. I will ask Sean if he can pop that screenshot up on the screen there for you to have a look at. So in the post it just says, hey, we're doing a pre-order incentive, pre-order to get it, check out the Google form and everything. And then it says like terms and conditions are on there. Okay. So it doesn't mention Illumicrate at all in the announcement post. It doesn't mention it in the slightest. So I clicked on the link, followed it through, and it says in the terms and conditions that Illumicrate boxes don't count towards it. So this isn't too surprising in general, because normally BookBox pre-orders don't count towards pre-order incentives. However, the reasoning for that normally seems to be the fact that the book boxes don't actually announce the book that is being featured. So, for example, when Kerry Maniscalco was doing Kingdom of the Wicked, I have a feeling there was a pre-order incentive surrounding that. But because Fairyloot had only done the theme reveal, they hadn't actually announced our box will contain Kingdom of the Wicked, it didn't count. I'm not quite sure for the reasoning why sequel sales don't count. Allegedly it's because they don't count towards the first week sales. I don't know enough about publishing to say whether that is true or not. I do think it's quite sneaky, because surely that's a problem with publishing and not a problem that the consumer should have to deal with. The fact that the way that they are purchasing the book doesn't count towards the first week's sales, because whether you're ordering it from Fairy Loot, whether you're ordering it from Illumicrate, whether you're ordering it from Waterstones, you're still ordering that book prior to its release, which is, by definition, a pre-order. But, okay, so I was just a bit kind of dismayed, because obviously Daphne owns Illumicrate, whereas publishers normally make the rules around these pre-order incentives, and they say, okay, like, Illumicrate sales don't count towards this pre-order incentive. That's because the publisher doesn't have a, like, vested interest in the book box company. But by nature of Daphne Press being Daphne's press, they do have a vested interest in Illumicrate sales. And I just thought it was a bit kind of shady of them to not actually address it in the caption on Instagram. If they had put in that Instagram caption, we're announcing our pre-order incentive today, blah, 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 UK subscribers, UK followers, please pre-order. Unfortunately, Illumicrate subscribers, this pin badge will not be, like, your pre-orders will not be applicable, but we'll make sure that June's box makes up for it. Just something to kind of placate people. I probably wouldn't have even been annoyed. But it was the fact that they didn't mention it at all. You scroll down onto the Instagram comments, and there's comments from people who are like, will Illumicrate count? And the Daphne Press account were not addressing it. The Illumicrate account was not addressing it. There was nobody actively responding to people who were asking, apart from other followers who were getting the information from Caitlin through Discord. So this then links in to the wider issues that I've been having with Illumicrate, because I'm not a huge fan of the fact that they post a lot of information about things being delayed, about things being kind of held up, only on their Discord or sometimes on their Instagram stories. It makes it very difficult for, like, your standard Illumicrate consumer to actually access that information, because you have to seek it out a little bit more. And I think it's companies as a whole should make information accessible to their customers. It should be easy to find why something's delayed, why something's... And I know they do update their shipping updates very regularly, but there are things that I've only found out through comments on BookBox Sherlock's that have had, like, screenshots from their Discord account. And it just doesn't sit right with me, because you could just actively, like, comment on it. You could post a statement like, okay, well, the pin badge isn't going to be applicable for Illumicrate customers because of reasons X, Y, and Z. We're sorry about this, but we'll try to do something else for you in the future. But it was just the fact that they hadn't referenced it at all. You had to click onto the Google form and then you get the information up. So what had been discussed in the Illumicrate Discord was whether the pin badge was then going to be in the June box as an item. So Caitlin, I will read out the screenshot for you. It will be up on the screen if you would like to read it yourself. But Caitlin commented on this and said, I always feel like logistics is a bit boring, so I don't, talk about it constantly, but a couple of the reasons why it's not in the IC box are: US book only is sent out via media mail, which means we cannot include a pin. That means we'd have to either not put the pin in US book only, or find a way to charge more shipping, which is a logistical nightmare we cannot undertake. Most EU book only countries also have a reduced rate for VAT, which means really we shouldn't include pins for those book only customers either. So do we exclude every book-only customer outside of the UK, exclude every non-full box customer, exclude every non-UK customer? Like, what is the fair option there? There are other reasons, but I feel like that is enough, honestly. I appreciate that you guys can't know/think about all this stuff, but I hope you know us well enough to know we would have good reasons for not including the pin for IC customers beyond just hoping it forces everyone to buy 2 copies. So I basically commented on this and said that it was a flimsy excuse, because, in my opinion, people who have book only normally only want the book. Plus, Illumicrate used to do book only with a monthly pin badge. And then they stopped doing the monthly pin badges, so they stopped doing the book with the pin. But they had set a precedent previously that they could do book only with a pin. So I don't see how it's suddenly a logistical nightmare when that's something that they had been doing for quite a while prior to this. But regardless. So she then commented back to me, you might feel that way, but the pin is linked to the purchase of the book, not the box, and book-only customers will be purchasing the book just as much as full box customers. I've given some of our reasons, and I think they are enough to give context why we made this decision. There are other reasons as well. If you're unhappy with the outcome, then I'm sorry, but we won't be able to include the pin for Illumicrate customers. I think it's probably best we all leave this conversation here now. So, okay, not only you're not responding to comments on your public social media accounts, but you're also actively shutting down the conversation in the Discord. That, again, doesn't really sit well with me. I think this whole idea of, like, you know us well enough is very manipulative coming from somebody who works for the company, because at the end of the day, you only know that person's professional personality. They are commenting in a professional standard. They're not commenting as your friend. They're not commenting as somebody that you know. And this idea that everybody kind of knows them because they're all on Discord kind of chatting together, it leaves a sour taste in my mouth, because I've seen people commenting before saying that, oh, I support Illumicrate more than I support Fairy Loot because I like Illumicrate more as people. That is a statement that I've actually seen on Instagram from one of the big book box spoiler accounts before. But you don't know them as people. You know their professional personalities. You know the persona that they are putting forward towards their customers. You don't know them. Which is why I think that it's quite a difficult situation, because sure, there's logistics. Sure, there are probably more reasons. But at the end of the day, this is a business. This is a company, and they are going to be trying to make money. So saying, we're not trying to force you to buy 2 books, well, you're not forcing anybody to do anything, but this is coming very, very recently after Illumicrate announced that they were finally going to be limiting the amount of skips that people could use, which means that people may skip that box to purchase a different edition and then lose one of their limited skips. Or you're encouraging them to purchase 2 editions at a time when there's a cost of living crisis, at a time when consumerism is rampant, and it's not really something that people need to be encouraged more to do. And I know it's just a pin badge, but it's the principle. Because, like, personally, I've been subscribed to this company for 8 years. I'd been with Illumicrate since their first box. This is coming from a very seasoned member of the Illumicrate community. And the fact that it just feels like, okay, Daphne Press was launched maybe 8 months ago, maybe a year ago. And within a year, it's like, yeah, but we don't really care about our original subscribers. We don't really care about people who are with Illumicrate. We're not going to bother trying to get a pre-order incentive for them because we just want to appeal to the broader audience. We just want to appeal to people who aren't otherwise picking up this book. Because that's the other thing. Most publishers don't include the book box figures because they want to appeal to the wider audience, because they want to encourage more people to pick up this book. And that's fine. But Illumicrate could have chosen not to feature the book in their box. They didn't have to put it in there. If it's going to cause problems with first week sales, if it's going to cause problems with people then having to order 2 copies to get the pre-order incentive, choose a different book for the box. Do a special edition of The Sun and the Void in a couple of years for Illumicrate subscribers. Maybe put the pin in it then and do like an items box. Or just don't do a pre-order incentive. There are plenty of ways to avoid this situation arising where you're excluding people who have been supporting you for a very long time. And I just find odd that it's like they very much made Daphne Press and Illumicrate entwined. They sell the Daphne Press products on Illumicrate's website. They featured Daphne Press books in Illumicrate boxes, and now they're trying to act as though they're 2 separate things, even though they've already. It just feels like a bit of a clusterfuck. It feels like they don't know whether they want to make it entwined or whether they want it to be 2 separate companies. So they're hedging their bets and they're kind of doing a little bit of both, and it's not working. And that's another reason that I'm not on board with it anymore, because it just feels like maybe they've got too many eggs in their basket and the eggs are falling on the floor and beginning to crack a little bit, and there's some like yucky fluids seeping out, and I don't want to be involved. I want to get away from that. So they're starting a horror box. They've split Illumicrate and Afterlight, so the Afterlight subscribers now don't get access to Illumicrate pre-sales and vice versa, whereas before it was all kind of one thing. And I think if you want to make your companies separate, you need to make that decision very early on. I don't think that's something that you can suddenly start doing, because it just causes this conflict of interest. So stepping away from the Daphne Press thing, stepping away from the Sun and the Void debacle, why else is now the time that I've decided to unsubscribe? Well, items-wise, I feel like the quality has been declining. I feel like we're getting a lot of repeat items in the boxes. I feel like I don't get excited by Illumicrate items anymore. I mean, they did a black paper notebook, and I didn't have any kind of gel pens that I could use with it, and then it's kind of a case of like, so that's an item I can't use unless I go and spend more money. They did a stamp set, same rules apply. There was no ink because of customs and because of kind of exporting things, but it means I can't use it. So I'm getting a lot of items from them that are just unusable and aren't worthwhile to me. And the quality of the books has gone downhill as well. I mean, as I said, I've been subscribed for 8 years, and in the last 4 months, I've had to get 3 replacement copies for items because they've been terrible. I mean, I had the debacle with these infinite threads. I had a huge chunk of glue on the bottom of the pages, so I couldn't separate the pages out, so I couldn't physically read the book. I had the bride test that I'd ordered for a friend that had the same end paper at the front and the back, and that had somehow passed quality control. And the entire debacle with Ninth House and the Hellbents, and I will see if I can find like some pictures of some people's over here, because like there were lots of people that had very, very terrible copies. I mean, I'm getting a replacement for my copy of Hellbent because it was literally brown. Like, it's a different colour entirely to what it should have been. And it took them months. I think it took them like 2 full months to get back to anybody because they had to wait and see what stock they had left over at the fulfillment centre. They weren't doing any kind of updates publicly. It was only emails through to people who had submitted tickets and were waiting. And again, there's that level of like no transparency going on there. I know it happens with quite a few of the American companies. I know there's going to be some American companies that are coming into people's heads when I've said that, because I'll have to do some videos on them at some point, because I do know that there are other companies that are bad at transparency with communication and things like that, response times, etc. But I'd always held Illumicrate to a higher standard because I'd never had problems with them before. But over the last kind of 6 months to a year, it really does feel like it's becoming more of a money-making operation than anything else, and I don't like that. I mean, there was a big kickoff in the Discord group over Christmas time. I'll put the link in the description to the TikTok that I saw, but basically people were kind of calling them out and saying, look, the 2023 calendar that you included, all of the couples were male-female pairings. They did have queer rep because they had demisexual main characters, they had bisexual main characters, they have demisexual love interests. But on the face of it, from an outsider's perspective, if you don't know those characters, they're all male-female pairings. And Caitlin effectively said, look, we're humans and we're on our Christmas do, leave us alone. And again, it's like, if that's meant to be the professional persona, I don't really see the professionalism there. And as somebody who has worked in customer service for a long time, as somebody who's worked in retail for a long time, you have to respect your customers and you have to hold your tongue sometimes, and you have to wait for the right moment to address things, and you have to address things transparently because it makes everything a lot smoother, and it means that the customers are happy and you're happy and you're covering your back. But I just think like saying, oh well, there were train strikes so we couldn't have our Christmas party because it was cancelled, and I were out for a meal and we're people too. Yes, you are people too, which is why you can just mute the Discord for the night, just let the chaos erupt and then deal with it the next day. Don't come slamming in with like a, oh, this is our excuse for not responding right now, go deal with it. I don't really like that. Then there's also the fact that they're saying, oh, we're not trying to force people to buy 2 copies of a book, but twice in the last year they've announced sequels to books that they haven't been able to do in the same way as they did the original book, so then they've like resold the original books. So Gideon the Ninth and Harry the Ninth, when they originally did them, they had black sprayed pages. That was the same as all of the indie exclusives. However, the Illumicrate editions had Illumicrate signed ticket pages, so you knew it was an Illumicrate edition because it said it was exclusive for Illumicrate. So when Known on the Ninth was upcoming, everybody was asking, are you going to be doing it? And they said yes. And then they said, oh, well, look, the black sprayed edges weren't exclusive to us, so what we're actually doing is we're repackaging it. We're doing new sprayed edges and new foiling on the covers for Gideon, for Harrow, and for Nona, so that they all match. And then the 4th book, Electo, should match those as well. And I mean, I was pissed off about that at the time, I'll be honest with you, because I already had Gideon and Harrow, and now I don't have a matching set of those. I did end up buying the new set because I had spare funds, and it was a time where I could do it, and I don't mind having 2 copies of that because I do really love the first book. However, if that was me personally and my company, I would have said, look, I know the black edges aren't exclusive, but we've got original subscribers who've been here for years waiting for us to carry on doing this series. So how about we do Nona with black sprayed edges, we do Electo with black sprayed edges, and then once the whole series is out and everybody has their matching set, we'll do the set of 4 with this new redesign, we'll do it with the new foiling, we'll do it all fancy like. And then people would have that choice then. Okay, I've finished my collection. Would I like another one? Or I've finished my collection, I'm happy with it, rather than I'm always going to have an incomplete collection unless I get this set instead and spend more money. And the same thing happened with Ninth House. They did the original book, and then the materials that they'd used to do it had been discontinued from the printing press or something by the time Hellbent was announced. So they did the same thing. Okay, we're going to do Hellbent, but we're going to repackage it to a completely new style, so you've got to rebuy Ninth House as well. And it feels like these things are directly impacting the people who have supported them the longest. The people who bought the original Ninth House, the people who were subscribed when they featured Gideon in their monthly box, those are the people that are going to be impacted by this. And it feels like they're only really appealing to their newest subscribers now. And it feels like there's no kind of respect for people staying loyal to them. There's no appreciation for customers who have stayed with them for as long as, say, I have, or for somebody who's been subscribed for 5 years. It's just the hot new thing, and like, let's get more subscribers on board. And it's good to grow your company, but I think you also need to stay humble, and you need to remember your roots, and you need to know that, I mean, we, the subscribers, have made Illumicrate what it is. If it wasn't for us, Daphne would still be at home packing the boxes by hand herself, because she would have a minimal amount of subscribers and she'd be doing it all in her like home's hallway like she was for the first few boxes. It would have stayed quarterly, it wouldn't be monthly, it wouldn't be worldwide, but subscribers have grown this, and word of mouth has grown this, and all of these recommendations have grown this into what it is. It's helped her launch more products, it's helped her launch this press, and it feels very disingenuous to now be like, oh, but the only reason really that we're not letting you have like a pre-order pin badge is because like we can't give it to everybody. But then that means you're like directly excluding all Illumicrate customers. Like, no, it wouldn't be ideal if book only people didn't get it. But again, they could have either not done the pre-order incentive, or they could have done like a digital pre-order incentive, like, okay, we'll send around like a digital art print, or like some bonus chapters, bonus content, anything like that that could be accessed by everybody. And it feels like a very misguided decision that they have chosen to go down this route with it instead. There's also the fact that when it comes to not really valuing subscribers, it feels like they don't really listen to subscriber feedback that much either, because I mean, there was the thing last year when they included one of the Rosie Thorn's paper crafts, and they did like a vote on Instagram saying, did you want to have more of these? And everybody was like, no, we don't want to have more of these. So we've had 3 in the last 6 to 8 months. And I think it's just a case of they didn't want to do the mugs anymore because they were getting feedback that they were featuring too many. And then people realised that it was mugs or paper crafts and they wanted the mugs back. But Illumicrate had already kind of decided what they were doing. And it, again, it's just not something that I can personally support. I'm a very principled person, to a fault. I am very hot-headed, and I'm trying not to be too, like, harsh now, because I know it just sounds like I'm going on a tirade, but I just want to let you guys know, because I'm sure a lot of you don't actually know a lot of the things that have gone on, because if you haven't subscribed for this long, then you might not realise that they're doing the same books over and over. You might not realise that the quality control issues are coming out of nowhere, pretty much. It's never been an issue with them before. So if you are a new subscriber, or you're not somebody who's very familiar with the company, I just want to kind of give you this perspective, because all I really see is people saying how much they love Illumicrate. How much they love Illumicrate's people, how much they think it's the best book box, how much they think that the item quality is amazing, the book picks are amazing, and I've been feeling this way for a little while, to be honest, that they haven't been being the best. I think that the other book box companies do also have issues, don't get me wrong, but I feel like there's just something about this one that's leaving the bitterest taste in my mouth, and it's probably because I've been subscribed for so long and I'm just very personally invested in it. But I don't want to be invested in it anymore, which is why I've stepped away, and it's why I've cancelled, and I feel no regrets, and that is very unlike me. I am somebody who regrets very easily, and I don't like change, and I'm just very loyal as a person, and I like to stay subscribed to things and kind of collect all the things and have that thing close to my heart. But this was the time for me to draw a line under that, and so will I get any Illumicrate books in the future? I will be honest, I don't know. At this point in time, it's a hard no. When they announce sequels to things, like if they do an edition of Lightbringer, if they do House of Flame and Shadow to match the other Crescent City editions, I'm gonna have to sit down and have a real hard conversation with myself, because I don't think I ever want to spend anything with them again. I know it's over such a stupid, pathetic little thing, and I know it's just a pin badge, Alyce. Chill your boots. It's just a pin badge, but it's all of the little things as well. It's the fact that we're getting promises that quality won't deteriorate, and then not only are we getting issues with sprayed edges being off-centered and people not getting them exchanged because it's not off-centered enough, or quotes being misspelled on things because they obviously haven't checked it enough, or the dust jacket for the very first Daphne Press book having a spelling mistake and then saying, well, we're not going to send out a replacement because it's just one tiny little spelling mistake. Yeah, from a blurb that you copy pasted from the US edition and somehow managed to take a letter out of. It's a lot of very little things that are quite petty. I mean, even look at the yellow book pouches. So the yellow book pouches was something that had been with Illumicrate for a very long time. The books came in them, they weren't ever really damaged. I mean, I never had a damaged book in a book pouch. I don't know about any of you. But recently they've switched over to recycled bubble mailers. So these are made using recycled materials, but they cannot be recycled. So I commented on their Instagram and I said, why are you getting rid of the yellow book pouches? Because, like, you could reuse them. I've got one that I store playing cards in, I've got one that I store dice in, I've got one that I store pencils in. I use them for a lot of different things around the house, and they come in handy. If you're traveling, then you can put like a toothbrush in it and it won't get anything wet. You can obviously keep books in them, bookmarks, like anything like that. And they said, well, they're not recyclable. Okay, but neither are the bubble mailers. The bubble mailers are made using recycled materials, but they're one use and then you dispose of them. The yellow book pouches are reusable, so they're multi-use, they're multi-purpose. They may not be able to be recycled, but they can be reused quite effectively. And that left a sour taste in my mouth as well, because don't pretend like you're being eco-friendly because you're making something using recycled materials if you're not ensuring that that is also recyclable, because it's still causing waste. And I think in this day and age, when the planet's pretty much fucked, let's be honest, and the economy's pretty much fucked too if you're in the UK, but oh, let's promote single-use bubble mailers and consumerism. And I know, I'm being ridiculous. It's not that deep, but yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know, really, because Bookbox Battle will be changing. There will be no Illumicrate from now, which is like, I'm glad I managed to get a refund on that Maybox, because I would have been like so angry opening it otherwise. I would have been like, I don't want this in my house, I hate all of it, even if it was like the best box they'd ever done. And I try, if you've seen Bookbox Battle, you'll know I try so hard to not let my personal opinions come into things. I try to just react to the items, just be like, okay, this is how I feel about this is how I feel about that. But I don't try to have any prejudices towards any of the companies. I just try to keep it neutral and just show you, like, okay, this is like these boxes versus each other. It's not like, okay, well, I prefer this company, but like these ones. I try to stay a bit more neutral on all of that, so that would have been really difficult for me. But the other thing is, I've also, because of this, I've applied for the FairyLoot YA and Book Only adult combined, just so that I'm getting less items in my house, because the only real reason that I stayed subscribed to all of these for so long is for Bookbox Battle for you guys, and that's why I thought it was so important for me to discuss this, or really just rant about this at you. And obviously, if you guys want to discuss any of this down in the comments, then please do comment. Let me know your feelings on it all. Let me know whether you think I'm being completely ridiculous. Let me know if you think I'm justified. Because I mean, I've spoken to close friends and family, and they all feel like, no, you're completely justified. Like it is a bit of a kick in the teeth. It is not a great way for a company to behave after this many years. And so personally, I know I've made the right decision for me. But if you've got any comments that you'd like to add, then please do. It would be fun to discuss this. Even if you just want to tell me that I'm like a stuck-up bitch and you hate me and you're unsubscribing, then that's fine. Thank you for supporting us for this long, and thank you for sticking with us until now. But yeah, I think this is me. This is me going through my midlife crisis and growing exponentially. Oh, I just slapped the microphone. See, that's how angry I am about this. But no, this is me going through a bit of a midlife crisis. And just changing as a person, and I like that because it feels like I've ended a toxic relationship. It feels like I didn't really want to be subscribed to Illumicrate for this long, and I've stayed for this long, and I shouldn't have. Because at the end of the day, I'm not interested in the April book that I've just received. I wasn't interested in March's book, and I kind of wanted to skip the box, but I didn't because of Book Box Battle. I loved Song of Silver, don't get me wrong. I'm so glad I received that one before I decided to unsubscribe, but I'm not interested about any of their upcoming picks either. So this was just the right time for me to leave Illumicrate, and I'm feeling a lot less weight on my shoulders with it gone. So I think it has been bugging me for a lot longer than I really allowed myself to accept. And it's just because it's so many little things that have added up. If it was just the pin badge, if it was just the quality control issues, if it was just the kind of weird relationship that they have with subscribers on their Discord, then maybe I could look past it. But all of these things added up is just too much for me. And so I unsubscribed. I cancelled. I'm done with them, and it feels good. Especially now I've gotten all of this out, because I feel like I've really decompressed. Like it's done. It's done. I've discussed it. This is the last kind of word on the matter, unless we discuss down in the comments. But yeah, not the kind of video I ever thought I would be putting up. Not the kind of video that I ever thought I would need to put up, because I didn't think that Illumicrate would ever do any wrong, really. I mean, prior to the past year. But yeah, thank you for watching. I'm Alice. This is the Bumbling Blogger. If you like this video, then please give it a like. And if you'd like to subscribe, we would be super duper grateful. If you'd like to unsubscribe, then you're also welcome to, of course. And as I said, thank you for the support that you've given us so far. I know that it's going to be a bit of an upheaval with Book Box Battle changing so much, and then obviously when we get the Fairy Loot book only, it's going to go on to just like I QUIT unboxings monthly. But hopefully this will give us the kind of mental space and the energy to do different videos. Because, to be honest, I've missed doing book reviews, but Book Box Battle is such a huge time commitment that whereas I could film 4 or 5 reviews in that time, I just film that one video, and it's very intensive, and it has to be done in such a short span of time to get it up quickly as well. So it's nice that it's not going to be as intense. So that's a little personal reason why I unsubscribed. Also, I wanted to save money. Also, I wanted more space in my house. Like, there's so many reasons. And it'll be interesting to see as I see unboxings going forward whether I actually end up regretting it or whether I just feel more justified each month. Because a lot of you do comment on my Book Box Battle videos and say, I switched to book only, or I unsubscribed and I feel no remorse now. So I'm hoping, I think maybe I've been like empowered by you guys. Like, you are all so brave and like, I don't care about FOMO, I'm just going to unsubscribe, and I love that. So thank you guys for giving me the confidence to do this and helping me defeat my FOMO. And yeah, I hope that this video doesn't make you hate me too much. As I said, I'm Alice. Thanks for watching. Bye. I'm just staring to do with them now. Okay, you're just doing the like. Just sit down, Sean. Get out of the way. I love you. You said you weren't going to interrupt.